You're listening to Happy Healthy Hormones with Dr. Chris. Are you tired of the short-term patch to your health problems? Is avoiding medications and surgeries important to you? If you answered yes, then your prayers have been answered. Dr. Chris has been helping people transform their health for over a decade. He's a world-renowned health expert who specializes in holistic health. He's a professional speaker, chiropractor, and international best-selling author. It's his mission to help you reach your full God-given potential through holistic health and healing. Get ready to be inspired and transformed. Here's your host, Dr. Chris.
Hey there, everyone. This is the show where disease takes a dive and people come to thrive. And today I want to talk to you about something that affects millions of people in our country every single day. And it's something that really is kind of a silent killer in the fact that it sneaks up on you. And we really do a good job in our own minds of playing this off until it gets to a point where it's so bad where it hits you like a ton of bricks. And when it hits you, you burn out. And what I'm talking about is chronic fatigue. So chronic fatigue looks like a lot of different things. It can look like someone who has low energy. It can look like someone who is depressed. It can even look like someone who just has pain all over their bodies, because what it is it's when our bodies have just been stretched so thin and so far that our bodies can't take the stress of our daily lives, and we finally just give up. And when we give up, we crash. And when people crash from this, they crash hard. So understanding what that fatigue is and what chronic fatigue really looks like is essential to understand really where it starts. And so where it really starts is in your daily habits. It starts where you're lacking in controlling your schedule, letting your schedule control you, not putting yourself first when it comes to your health, and letting those things just kind of fall by the wayside. I mean, it affects a ton of people. In fact, there's different stages of fatigue. I mean, there's people that just have some low energy. There's people that have lost a lot of their energy. There's people that are fatigued, people that are chronic fatigue, insomniacs, you name it. But it affects a lot. When you get to that really chronic, like that medical diagnosis of chronic fatigue where people are just in like really, really bad shape, I mean, it affects anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million people affected by that. But fatigue can last for weeks. It can last for months. It can last for years. But you got to understand that you got to get your body working for you, and that it doesn't just go away by getting some better rest. You know, a lot of people in your life that don't understand what you're going through with that chronic fatigue or even depression think like, hey, you know what? Just get some rest. Look on the bright side. Things will get better. But they don't. And they can, but we got to be going through those right steps and understanding how that affects our body so we can get yourselves well. Now, to look at it really simple, I mean, this is the simplest tasks exhaust you, right? Your memory and your concentration get affected. Even by getting lots of sleep, you still don't feel refreshed. You still feel groggy and that foggy cloudedness in your body. People get headaches, joint pain from it, inflamed lymph nodes in the neck. And there's a lot of different things that can trigger chronic fatigue too, whether it be in your past that have happened or even in your present too. So even things like past infections in your body that have laid dormant for years because our immune system gets weakened by maybe our lifestyle, different stresses we're in at that moment, can start to resurface and create that chronic fatigue in our bodies. You can get even chronic immune dysfunction. And this can happen through things like exposure to toxins, allergies, endocrine dysfunction as well. You start to get the sleep dysfunction, right, which is things like insomnia. You can get constant emotional stress that will create these things. So our jobs, our kids, our families, deaths or loss in your families, job changes, just sensory overloads. We talk about not only viral infections, but you can look at bacterial overgrowths also. And then you even get into things like nutritional deficiencies. Over time, our bodies just finally weaken and weaken until those chronic fatigue symptoms show up. And even structural damage to your nervous system can be responsible for this chronic fatigue that you're feeling in your body. So there's a lot of different avenues we have to look at. And when we look at it, there are a lot of medications out there that claim to help people with this chronic fatigue. However, on the flip side, there are a ton of medications, even more medications that lead towards chronic fatigue in people. So medications for things like high blood pressure, anxiety, and depression meds like Prozac, Zoloft meds, those proton pump inhibitors, things like acid reflux meds, allergy meds, antibiotics can be huge triggers. And although they might create temporary relief for the thing you're trying to take it for, they don't make you healthier long term, right? Because, think about it. Do you believe that you are at your healthiest when you are taking a ton of medications or when you're not taking any, right? Absolutely. You can never drug yourself into health. You can only drug yourself into temporary relief, but into bigger health challenges and problems. So when is enough enough? How long does it have to really go undiagnosed? And how long do you have to have that diagnosis before you actually start to do something really about it and really start to change your lifestyle? Because if you don't, that major fatigue that you're dealing with is going to lead towards a major disease. It's going to lead towards the depression. It's going to lead towards things like cancer. And then you're going to think about to yourself, wow, have I waited too long to do something about it? I could still play through the pain. People that suffer from fatigue, and you might be experiencing this right now, can keep going. People can function amazingly off of maybe just an hour or 2 hours of sleep a night. This is crazy. And while they on the outside might look like they're functioning, behind closed doors, they're miserable. They're struggling with just the demons inside. But the thing is the longer that you keep that up and the longer you think you can just keep going and that you can keep playing through it, the harder it is to get things back. And when it comes down to it, it's about coming and finding the source of where this chronic fatigue is really stemming from. And not finding more excuses, right? Because we always find the excuses of, hey, you know what? I'll just wait a little bit longer. It's not that bad. I need to wait until I have more time, right? Or until I have more money to do something about my health. But what does it really cost you if you wait? Right? It doesn't just cost you time and money. It costs you your livelihood. So how do you start to overcome these things, right? How do you understand the causes and start to address the issues? Well, number one is don't take on things, do things, or put things in your body that are going to rob you of your health. So what does this look like? It's learning how to say no. It's learning how to create the good lifestyle, to put things like good foods in your body. So your food has to be your medicine for this, no question. So you're putting whole organic foods in your body, or are you putting things that are full of preservatives and processed foods? It's really important that you start to build the right types of food. So putting things that have really good fats, things that are maybe more rich in vitamin B. So these are things like, wild caught fish, greens, good nuts, things like, I'm drawing a blank right now. Cashews, that's the word I was looking for. So those are like great sources that'll help those feel-good hormones, help get your body back on track, not just filling yourself with coffee. That's not the trick, okay? Making sure you're getting lots of sun. Most people that start to get this chronic fatigue too, leading up to that, they're just not getting out. They're just entrenched in their work. They're just indoors all the time because they're focusing on some task, something they got to do. But getting out there and getting that energy, let the sun feed you. That's huge. It's such an underrated thing there. And then really find the underlying cause is a key one. Not just having good lifestyle habits, but okay, are there certain emotional stresses in your life that are creating this? When I looked at for my wife, when she was struggling with the chronic fatigue and insomnia, the biggest source was really emotional stress. It was from things that she was taking on, extracurricular things from cheerleading, coaching, to her profession that she was doing. It was just robbing her of her sanity. And it was creating a huge amount of stress, which was starting to fatigue her body and creating that chronic fatigue. So where's that source really coming from? Or is it more of a chemical stress? Is it a chemical stress you're aware of? Like, do you know that you're eating really bad foods? Do you know that you are putting bad things on your body, like personal products and cleaning supplies that you're around all the time? Or sometimes there are things that you don't even realize you're doing to yourself, right? Maybe you're just living in a toxic environment and you had no idea. We really got to understand how to really identify those areas and start to just create little changes. And you start to do little changes over time, things will start to get a lot better. So what do you do? Where do you really start to get your body going and functioning well? Well, we've got to get your body really starting to adapt to the stresses around you. So whether it's a physical, chemical, or emotional stress, if your body can't adapt to those stresses, you're going to get further and further into that hole. And so the thing that controls your nervous system, allows for you to really adapt to different stresses, is your brain and your spinal cord, right? That's what controls all the signals of healing and where things get to go. It's your super highway to allow your body to adapt. So if you've never gotten your nervous system evaluated, you really need to do that first thing out, right? You need to get things like motion x-rays, see how your nervous system is functioning, make sure that things are communicating like they need to. And if they're not, well, you need to start to get that and rebuild that foundation, right? Start to get your body starting to function and heal and repair like it was actually designed to. And then from there, you can start to build on that, right? Then you can start to look at more in depth on things like nutrition. Then you can start to look at things like really getting the right types of exercise in your life. You can start to say no, right? Start to change things in your lifestyle and your daily lives and your daily habits. Start to get a control of your calendar instead of letting that calendar control you all the time. But it's just about creating new habits, right? And creating new success strategies for yourself. And these can be little things, but just being consistent on that as well. So just remember, there are a lot of reasons for you to keep down the road you're going down and not change anything. It's comfortable. It's safe. You maybe think you're not in a bad place right now where you can keep going through it, but eventually those things catch up with you. And when they catch up with you, man, it's so much harder to try to overcome a chronic disease than trying to prevent one in the first place. And I just implore you to take that ownership in your own health. Because what I've learned through the thousands of patients that I've interacted with, through my own personal experience, that no one is going to take care of your health like you are, right? You can go to the best doctor in the world. They're never going to take care of you like you have the ability to take care of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, then nobody else is. Are you getting me, right? So remember to just go back through those, look through those 5 foundations, look at your nervous system, look at your food, look at your fitness, look at toxicity in your environment, and look at what you're saying yes and no to, and where there's chronic, sick, toxic people. I don't mean sick like physically sick. I mean like those people that drain your good mojo in your life. And look at starting to replace those things in your life, start to clean up those habits, and I guarantee you will start to overcome that chronic fatigue, and you will get better, and you will start to have the life that God created you to have. So until next time, remember, your body needs no help healing, just no interference.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please help more people in reaching their fullest potential and rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. For show notes and other free resources we mentioned today, go to newedgewellness.com.